and welcome back. Well, unless you intend popping into tools and using viewport canvas to apply materials and colour to your geometry, then there's no two ways about it. We're going to have to sit down and spend some time actually arranging our sliced up pieces of geometry. But we do have a range of tools down here that we can employ to accomplish that objective. Now don't get me wrong, I do use viewport canvas myself for certain parts, but I know that it pays dividends to actually sit down and rearrange all our geometry here. Okay, so let's get cracking. Well, first of all, I'm just going to close this down a little bit this way and bring it over here. Now I've done that, I'm going to pop in here and just turn that to smooth and highlights. Now I'm going to check this box here, select elements. With that selected, I'm going to select this piece of geometry here, and as we can see in our viewport, it's actually showing me where that geometry is in relation to our model here in the viewport, and that is going to prove very helpful to us whilst we're in this process. Okay, so let me now open this back up. Right, well, as we can see, everything is contained within this boxed section here. However, we need to start arranging it into some form of order. And in order to do that, what I do is basically look at the geometry which is there and say, okay, where do I start? Well, in this instance, what I'm looking for is the base of our fuselage, and I can see here that we have this side selected, and along here we have, on this piece of geometry, some blue lines. Well, that's telling me straight away that these areas along here somewhere are connected to that. Now I know there's a break in this section around the cockpit, but there isn't one there, so therefore this has to be the base of our fuselage. So with the select element still checked and faces selected there, what I'm going to do is just select that piece of geometry there. Now we can check this out. Is that what we have? Well, let's have a look underneath here. Yes, there it is. So with that selected, let's just pull out a bit. I'm pressing the middle mouse key, by the way, the roller key here on the mouse to pan in and out. It's the same controls that we have for our viewport. Control Alt, middle mouse key to zoom in and to zoom out. Okay, so with that selected, I'm actually going to pull it off of our section here. Now with that selected, I can see these blue lines around this section of our fuselage and around that section of our fuselage. So I want to start arranging these in relation to the geometry that I've pulled off to the side here. Okay, so we know that our select element is checked, we're still on faces. Let's select that there. Now I'm going to pull it off to the left, and down here I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees and then rotate 90 degrees again. Now it hasn't really straightened it up, so I'm popping up here to the rotate, but before I do, I want to make sure that angle snap is deselected, because some of the controls that we have in here still affect our editing UVWs section here. So with that deselected and my rotation tool selected here, I'm actually going to try and straighten this up. Okay, it looks straight there. So now back up to my move tool. Now I'm zooming in a little bit here because what I want to do is grab that and start lining this up to this piece of geometry here, but allowing enough space between. I don't want to link these together, or stitch them together I should say, so let's just going. Now here we can see that this geometry does relate to that, so we want to try and line that up as best we can. So let's zoom in, and actually let's look for a line there. We've got a guiding line there, line there. Let's bring that to there, that line. Now we've got a line down here, so let's now select this one and let's line that up with that line there. This is going to help us when it actually comes to saving this file and then importing it into Photoshop and then creating our diffuse maps and bump maps. Well, let's select this again, pull out a little bit. Now we can see that this line around here is blue. However, we do have a couple of breaks. There's a break there and a break there, and that's because there is a section of geometry which is missing from here and is also missing from here. So whilst we're here, let's uncheck select element, and I'm going to put it into edge. Now I can select this section here, right click on the mouse, and I'm going to say stitch selected. And what that's done is pulled this selection or this section of our geometry from our main area over there and stitched it to that edge. Now if I was to select element again and we go face, now we can see that that is blue. So that means there is the connection between this piece of geometry and that piece of geometry. Okay, well let's do the same with this section down here. Uncheck, into edge, let's select that edge there, right click, stitch selected. Let's now zoom out, make sure select element is checked. I'm going to pop into face again, select this piece of our fuselage now, and let's pull that off to the side as well. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees and 90 degrees again, making sure that our angle snap is still switched off. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, pull it across, select our rotate tool, and I'm going to straighten this up. About there. I'm going with that guiding line, that blue guiding line there. Now up for our move tool, and let's start lining this up as well. So if I just pull out, take it up to there, using that blue line there, let's just get that lined up nicely there. Lovely. Now again you can see that we have gaps in our edge, so let's deselect that for a moment, uncheck, and we're going into edge selection again. Let's select that edge there, right click, stitch selected. let's come across, select that edge there, right click on our mouse, stitch selected. So if we now go back to our select element and we go face and now select this piece of geometry, let's just have a look. Lovely. Now I can see that this line round here, this blue line, is unbroken. So that means that is the weld associated with this section of the geometry here. Likewise with this part of our fuselage here, as we can see, it's one continuous blue line now and it's unbroken. Let me just select that one again, because I want to try and make sure we've got the same kind of a space in between each. So pull that down a little bit to there. Lovely. Well, as this is now still selected, let's just zoom out and have a look around. Now we can see quite a few pieces which have got a blue line indicating that that is a seam. Okay, we're on select element. Let's select that one and pull it off. So this is telling me that that is a seam for this selection here. Well, let's bring that over, zoom in, and here I can see that that should be lining up with that there. Okay, so let's look at that, zoom in a bit more if we need to. Yep. Now I can see that line coming up and meeting this section of grey here along that straight edge there, so no problem, let's use that one to get that lined up there. Pull out a little bit more. Yep, lovely. Now let's select this section again, zoom out, pull across. What about this selection here? Let's select that, pull that across as well, place it there for a moment. Now again, I don't want to stitch these together just yet. I may do in a moment, but I want to get the pieces lined up with each other first of all. Okay, let's select this once more, pull out, let's have a look. Well, I can see that is selected as well, so select that element there, pull that across, and let's place that there for a moment. In fact, I can see that this element is coming in down here. That's where the connection seems to be. So line that up there. There we can see we've got a blue connection there and a blue connection there. That part is connected via the seam here and here. So let's just put that there. Okay, well, I think we've made an inroad towards this. So, mindful of the time, I'll catch you later.